What's going on, guys? So in today's video, we're going to be talking about three SPACs today. Ticker symbol HCCO, PIC, and SBE. And we are going to, get a brief introduction to each of these and just see if it sparks some interest for us. So before we get into it, if you guys don't mind just dropping a like and hitting subscribe. If you find any value in this video, it really helps out the channel and the video, so I really appreciate that. Also, get your free stocks in the description and check out the free Discord link and the free spreadsheets. Let's get into it. So SPAC number one is ticker symbol HCCO, and this is SOC Telemed. SOC is a leading provider of acute telemedicine solutions that are used primarily inside hospitals alongside on-site care teams to provide time-sensitive specialty care when patients are at their most vulnerable. SOC provides a differentiated solution through the integration of three critical elements. Number one, a proven software platform. Number two, a panel of consult coordination experts. And number three, a network of clinical specialists. All three of these are combined into a seamless acute telemedicine solution. SOC provides services to 847 facilities, including 543 acute care hospitals in 47 states, including 19 of the 25 largest U.S. health systems. SOC is the largest provider of acute teleneurology and telepsychiatry and has delivered over 1 million acute care consultations. So their presentation does highlight that SOC utilization was down due to postponed surgeries and non-COVID ICU utilization, but they expect to fully recover from this. So some positives that I noticed. They're getting a new investment of $165 million from BlackRock, Barron, and ClearBridge. The management team will be giving up a big chunk of their founders' shares, so that means a better deal for investors with less dilution. And the telehealth market is hot right now. Given the damage caused by the current virus, they've seen a huge upsurge over the past few months. There's been an increased use in telehealth due to the pandemic. In April, about half of the Medicare visits were via telehealth, compared to the 1% in February, and they do view this as a long-term shift. As I mentioned in the Livongo video I made, a lot of people do prefer online doctor's visits. It's quick, easy, simple, and doesn't take up your whole day, and I think that's where the shift will be going. So some red flags for me. 45% gross margin isn't that good for SaaS companies. They do have 100% net retention, which sounds good, but most SaaS companies have a minimum of 115%, and the best are around 130%. Teladoc and Livongo are merging by end of year, and they seem like a huge threat to SOC Telemed. Teladoc is a much bigger company and joining Livongo, and the market for teledoctors is sound, but what is the advantage in investing in SOC Telemed over Teladoc? I could see this thing gapping up, just like most SPACs do, and then immediately being shorted and sold off and crushed by market makers. Their year-over-year growth rate has also decreased. It's still growing, just not nearly at the same rate as some other telehealth. This is an in-hospital telemedicine technology, so its income has been negatively affected by COVID instead of being COVID-proof. The bull response to this is that once hospitals get back to more normal conditions, telemedicine will be a much bigger piece of the puzzle than ever before, so it has a huge future growth opportunity from COVID still, even if COVID's a short-term negative. Another thing that is good about this stock is it's pure speculation, and we heard this would be a great target for Teladoc because it would add the in-hospital portion to the telehealth conglomerate that they are trying to build. So they're selling a platform rather than a service, and there is a ton of competition out right now for telemedicine platforms. The better telemed companies, in my opinion, are the ones that have a practice along with them, and they can sell directly to huge corporations, direct to consumers, and to health insurance giants. So it's much harder to do this when there's very few public and private entities that are successful in this specific niche. So for this reason, as of right now, I'm not interested in buying into this. Like I said, there's still a chance for profit. It seems like all SPACs go up and then they go down. So, if you time it right, you could probably make some money on this. But because there are a ton of SPACs, I'm just not that interested in this one, and I'm being a lot more picky nowadays. Next up is ticker symbol PIC, and I'm not going to go too in depth on this one, but I'm just going to put it out there for you guys to be aware of. This is another EV play, and to be 100% honest with you guys, I'm not that excited about it. I feel like I've been bombarded with way too many EV plays in the last couple months, and it just seems like it's getting to be too much, and I don't think the hype will always be the same for all of these EV companies, so tread carefully. This is rumored to go down in Q4 of 2020. They provide electrification solutions, and they help companies with commercial gas vehicles go hybrid electric. They have a good customer base, for example, FedEx, Verizon, Coca-Cola, and Pepsi. They have partnerships with Ford, GM, Chevrolet, and Isuzu. The chief executive officer is Jonathan Ledecky. He's the co-owner of the hockey team, the New York Islanders, and has done SPAC deals before. They address Class 2 through 6 vehicles, while Hyliion is for Class 8 vehicles. So thinking about this, there are a ton of cars, vans, minivans, and trailers in the world, and they could immediately get transformed into hybrids with this technology. It has been approved by vendors like Ford, Chevrolet, and GM, so installing these hybrids does not affect the warranties. I think people may go for this just because EVs are so hot right now, and these plays, especially SPACs, are just insanely hot right now. So people might get dragged into this one as well. Personally, I'm not interested, but it is interesting that they do have a customer base like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and Verizon. And they have been listed in Time Magazine's Top 100 Innovation Mentions. So it could be big, and I could be very wrong about this, but as of right now, I'm not that into it, but I'll be watching it. So taking a look at their summary financials, things actually do look pretty good. Their revenue will grow year over year, estimated, and their gross profit, although 2019 was a bit negative, looks like it's going to be positive for 2020 and the years to follow, so that's pretty promising. I'm not saying that I would never be interested in this. Just at the moment, with how many EV plays are out there right now, it's very tough to know which ones will be successful and which ones will just hype up and sell off. This one isn't grabbing my attention too much, and I do think the EV SPAC plays will be outplayed, and I don't think we're going to get the same Nikola, Hyliion, and even Lordstown Motors effect in all of these, and you really got to be careful with this. It could hype up and you could make money, and I could be completely wrong, but I'm just saying be careful and really watch this one closely. Last up is ticker symbol SBE, and this would be merging with ChargePoint. Now this isn't a definitive agreement and this could fall through, so be careful. I'm still waiting to hear more about if this would go through or not. ChargePoint is basically a charging station for EVs, and here is a bit about ChargePoint. ChargePoint has been committed to making it easy for businesses and drivers to go electric since 2007, with the largest EV charging network and most complete portfolio of charging solutions available today. ChargePoint's cloud subscription platform and software-defined charging hardware is designed internally and includes options for every charging scenario, from home and multifamily to workplace, parking, hospitality, retail, and fleets of all types. To date, ChargePoint's network has grown to more than 114,000 places to charge and 80 million charging sessions, with drivers plugging in approximately every 2 seconds. ChargePoint is creating the new fueling network to move all people and goods on electricity. And as you guys can see, ChargePoint secures additional $127 million in funding. So this would be the one out of these three that I'm most interested in. I'm kind of over the other EV plays right now, but this would be a great way to still invest in the EV industry, but in a different way. So as you can see here, the EV charging company ChargePoint is nearing a deal to go public through a reverse merger, and that could value the company at more than $2 billion. Campbell, California-based ChargePoint, raised $127 million, as I mentioned, bringing its total funding to $660 million from investors including AEP, BMW, Braemar Energy Ventures, Chevron, Daimler, ClearVision, GIC, Lens Capital, and Quantum Energy Partners. A month ago, the firm was valued at $1.37 billion, according to PitchBook. So by looking at SBE's chart, you guys can see that the initial spike up has really taken off. They're up 42% in the last week. We see this with SPACs all the time. I will throw up an example of this right here of all these different SPACs. Very similar history with all of these. You see that initial spike, and this is just, buying the rumor. And next to come, if I was a betting man, would be the sell-off back to around $12. And this is just how it usually goes. So, I wouldn't buy in quite yet, especially because this isn't a definitive agreement. You could, buy in, play the warrants, and do all that. It is risky, so just know that you're basically buying in on a gamble there and understand your risk. I'll personally just be watching it. And like I said, I assume a quick sell-off would be coming shortly, but I could be wrong. That's just my opinion. If this does go through, this is the one I'm most interested in out of the three I mentioned. So that's pretty much it, guys. Those are just my initial thoughts on this quick overview of these companies. I've come to realize you don't have to be first on every single thing, especially when it comes to SPACs. There are multiple opportunities to get into the SPAC. Even if you miss that initial run-up, I've showed that chart, and many times it runs up and immediately pulls back, presenting another opportunity to get in. So really think about what you want to get into. There is just a list that is huge on SPACs, and you really need to go through each company and figure out what fits your investing goals. I'm not saying these companies won't be profitable, and I'm not saying that these won't ever blow up. Just at face value right now, I will just be watching them and seeing where they go. Definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments, and have a good one.
Stacking vertical, ooh, counting sideways, ooh, ain't by my cake, ooh, get out my